Hi guys, hope you're all safe and sound at home. As you know, Inicijativa and Gourmet Experience have teamed up to produce some cooking classes. Last week we made a risotto with peas and bacon, and this week, seeing as it's Easter, we're going to be making shunko crow, or ham and bread in English, and it's as easy as this. If you're making the real shunko crow, you're going to want to cook your own ham, okay? The best ham to cook is a smoked ham that has the bone inside of it. This is where you're going to get the most flavor. And the best way to cook that is in and around, for half a kilo of meat, you're talking around half an hour to 40 minutes boiling, all right? So that's in cold water first, put your ham into it, cold water, and then put in green sec, the whole green sec, chop it up and throw it into the water. Don't add any salt because the ham is salty enough. This day and age, we're all maybe on a little bit of a budget. So I went and bought a roll and a shunka, so a piece of rolled ham that comes from the shoulder. It's also smoked. This is perfect for this recipe. Let's start and make the breads. The first thing we're going to do is get the flour, okay? So this is the Glacco Brashno. I've already put this through a sieve. The more air you have in that there flour, the lighter the bread is going to be, and the more juices it's going to soak up from the ham. So I'm just going to get my milk. So I've got it in my jezva, and I'm just going to heat it up a little bit. Now, not boiling. You want this so you can still dip your little finger into it. All right, so I'm going to get the flour, and that goes straight into the mixer. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is get a teaspoon of salt. So for this recipe, for half the recipe, it's 1 teaspoon. And your recipe, it's two teaspoons. And that goes straight in to the flour. And now drop the mixer and just give it a mix. We want the flour to be evenly incorporated. I'm going to get 1 teaspoon of sugar, and that goes in on top of the yeast. Now I'm using dry yeast. You can use fresh. So if you're using fresh yeast, then you want to put an entire kotskitsa, the whole thing of fresh yeast, into this recipe, which is for 600 grams of flour, I think, all right? And so I'm going to get half of that milk, and I'm going to put it in on top of the yeast. All right, so now it's best to leave this sugar, salt, and yeast, this slurry, for about 10 minutes until the yeast starts to reactivate and it starts to eat the sugar, basically, and it blooms. So we call this blooming the yeast. And on top of this here flour now goes in the rest of the milk, all right? And the yeast that we've mixed. Now, you're going to leave yours to relax and chill out for about 10 minutes. And then into that as well, I've got sunflower oil. Now, you can use any type of oil except for olive oil. So that goes straight in there as well, all right?
And why not olive oil?
I wouldn't use olive oil simply because it's too strong of a flavor. So I'm going to get my ham. It's out of the fridge, and I'm just going to make sure it's nice and dry, all right? The reason I'm doing this here is because you don't want a lot of liquid when you roll up that ham inside the bread. In this bowl, I've got an egg. I just beat it up. There's no milk in here, so it's the whole egg, the egg yolk, the egg white. And we're going to give a brush. Now, as you can see, my ham is nice and textured because it's been smoked inside of a net. I just want to make sure that I've got loads of egg in every little part of this ham because I want the bread to stick to it. So we're going to leave that to one side. And we're just going to turn up the mixer now so it's all come together nice. We want a nice soft bread. This dough is about ready now. It's been mixing there for about 5 minutes. So you can see how beautiful and soft this dough is. I'll show it to you here now. So you see how nice and soft that is. But we need to work this a little bit more. This isn't enough. And the next thing we're going to do is get some flour. I have a little dredger here. It's quite a handy little tool to have in your kitchen. I'm going to stick it on there to the dredger, and we're going to knead it. So what we need to do is with the palm of our hand here. So I'm going to get this now and push out and then fold back over and then push, fold, push and fold. We want to work this for about 5 minutes until the gluten stretches out and you've got a beautiful, soft and shiny piece of tiesto, piece of dough. Does anybody have any questions they want to shoot at me there now when we're doing this? Because it's going to take a few minutes.
And everything is clear. You explained it so nicely.
All right, so let's say that this is finished. So you can see there, it's really nice and smooth. We need to put this into the bowl again, cover it up, and leave that for at least half an hour. So after a half an hour, when your dough's nice and chilled out, take it out. So you're going to get the dough, press it a bit, and you're going to get one piece and fold it in like that and press. And then another piece and fold it and press. And just go around the whole piece of dough. Can you all see what I'm doing here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
And then with your hands going around like this, you're going to push in the base. You see, I've got a little bit stuck between my hands there. You see that? Right, so I'm going to turn it and push. Turn it and push. Turn it and push. And that's it. You don't want to do it too much. Get a bit of flour back down in this board and stick down the dough. And now the tiniest bit of flour on the dough. So I'm just going to get this now and I'm going to start to roll it out. So in one direction, 5 or 6, 7 or 8 times, turn the dough 90 degrees and continue. And that way you're going to get a real nice circle. Okay. So after we have this step done, we need to look at rolling up the ham, which is the funnest part. Okay. So first thing we need to do is we need to get our egg back. We're going to just brush this here again with a little bit of egg yolk.
But it will be inside of.
Yes. So this is the inside of the ham and bread. And as well as that, what we're going to do now, it's not in your recipe, but I think it's a nice addition. I'm going to get a teaspoon of mustard and get that onto the bread as well and brush that in on one side, so like on a semicircle. And this is going to give us a beautiful flavor. All right, so I got my ham. First thing, ham up and press, all right, nice and lightly. And then here, I want to turn it like this, all right? You see that?
Yeah.
Like an envelope, and the same here. And then after that there, I want to pull up the other lip of the ham, or the other lip of the tiesto, or the dough, and press it like that there. All right. And then I'm just going to get my knife, and I'm going to cut off 2 ends of the ham, like that. And I need to press the sides closed. And the egg really helps us out here because this is going to seal it up for us. The idea of this dish is that the ham inside of the bread steams and it becomes nice and aromatic. So you need it to be completely sealed. As I was telling you last week, škrtats. So I reuse my baking paper all the time. I use this about 4 or 5 times when I'm cooking. Absolutno braćani škrtač, 100%. All right, and so that goes in here. All right, and then we want to go again with the egg over the top. And that's it. It's very, very simple. Now, you can put on any decorations. So, for example, if you want to make it look pretty, you can roll out a few ropes and tie it around. So, for example, if I'm doing that, I want to take a bit of the bread dough that I've made, roll it into a ball, and do the same thing to make it into a ball by pulling together all the sides. So you can do whatever you want. So this is just an idea, like, you know, so I'm going to put that on top of my ham like that. And again, every time that you add some dough to this here, make sure and brush it with a little bit of egg. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sprinkle a little bit of sea salt. This is salt from Stun. I was saying last week, it's very important to use good quality salt. And I've also got some little nigella seeds or onion seeds. And I really like it because it gives a bit of crunch, a little bit of flavor. And I'm just going to sprinkle that over the top of the bread. I preheated my oven to about 170 degrees with no fan, without the fan. It's very important because the bread won't rise evenly if there's a fan. And so that goes straight into the oven. All right. So I've got one that I made a little bit earlier. It's here. And so you can see how nice that looks. All right, so that when we cut it in half, this is what we got. And you can see in there, the juices from the ham are running out there. Do you see that? Beautiful. And the smell is amazing in the kitchen. I wish we had smell-o-vision. This would be perfect for it. So that's our shunko crook.
Right.
All right, everybody have a great day. Have a lovely Easter. And we'll see you next week, everybody. All right. Hey guys, thanks a million for joining us today. We made some shunko crook for Easter. I hope you all enjoyed. Next week we're going to be making brown butter cookies with white chocolate and almond. Keep an eye on the Facebook page of Inicijativa for more updates. And from me and Inicijativa and Gourmet Experience, I want to wish everybody a very happy Easter.